Hello, everybody. I'm now sat in my bedroom to read you a story. I thought that'd be quite a good idea, actually. Tonight's story is called A Night of Panic. Hundreds of angry people crowded around Gershom and his dad. "Moses!" they shouted. "The Egyptians are coming after us, and we're going to die." "It's all your fault. You should have left us in Egypt." Gershom was frightened too. But it wasn't the Egyptians who scared him. It was his own people, the Israelites. They were all blaming his dad, shouting, "Why did you bring us here? At least the Egyptians fed us and protected our homes. Now they're going to kill us." Gershom ran to his tent and cried. The Egyptians were getting closer. Everyone was terrified. The people pushed and shoved closer to Moses. They were shouting, "Do something, you idiot! If they catch us, we'll all be taken back to Egypt. We will be slaves again. They'll kill us." Gershom hadn't been born in Egypt. He hated Egypt. The Egyptians were cruel. They had forced his mum to work as a slave. They had threatened to kill his dad. Gershom himself had been lashed by their whips several times. But his dad, Moses, had changed all that. Moses had shown the Egyptian king whose God was the real God. And the king had let them go. All of them. Thousands of them. No more slave labor. No more whips. No more insults. On the night that they had walked away from Egypt, everyone had been glad to leave. Moses had been their hero. When Moses had led the Israelites away from slavery, Gershom had been at the very front, holding his dad's hand. His friends had run up to join him, and they'd all raced ahead. They wanted to be the first to escape. "Head for the fire in the sky," Moses had shouted after them. "Follow God's fire." There was a huge column of bright light hanging between the clouds and the ground. They had never seen anything like it before. But Moses had seen God's fire before, when he was a shepherd in the mountains. God had spoken to him from the flames and told him to go to Egypt to rescue the Israelites and bring them home to the mountains. Ever since the Israelites had left Egypt, God had given them a column of thick cloud to follow during the day, and God's fire had led the way at night. Here they are, look, on their way. All those people trying to escape from the Egyptians. Every night, Gershom and his friends tried to catch up with it, the fire that is, but they never succeeded. It was a long journey. At first they walked during the day and the night, because they were afraid that the Egyptians might chase after them. There was no proper food to eat, and they slept in tents. They never stopped for long, and Gershom didn't like it. "Can't we stay here, Dad?" he would ask. "When can we have a decent meal?" But they always set off again. In the second week, they walked only during the day. God's thick cloud still went ahead of them, but the children had given up chasing it. Gershom's legs ached. His feet hurt. "Aren't we nearly there?" he kept asking. And when they came to the shore of the sea, Gershom asked, "Are we there now?" "No," Moses replied. "We're going to the mountains to meet God." So the people set up camp by the sea. And then it happened. The thing that everyone was afraid of more than anything else. First, they noticed a cloud of dust in the distance. Then they saw the sun glinting off the chariots. The king was coming after them. They were going to be captured or killed. That was why everyone was shouting at Moses. They didn't know what else to do. When Moses had first arrived in Egypt, the Israelites had thanked God. But the king had been angry with Moses and had made the Israelites work even harder. Then everyone had turned against Gershom's dad. Those had been horrible times. Even Gershom's friends had refused to play with him. Now it was happening all over again. The Israelites were now caught between the sea and the Egyptians. The people knew that Moses was the only one who could help them. Gershom ran out of his tent. "Do something, Dad," he yelled. "We can't go back." His voice was lost in the crowd. His dad turned and looked at him. "Gershom," he said urgently, "get my staff." Moses' staff was an old branch of wood that he had used when he was a shepherd in Midian. In Egypt, God had used the staff to turn water into blood and dust into gnats. Once, God had even turned his staff into a snake. It was these amazing things that had persuaded the king to let the Israelite slaves go. Gershom raced back to the tent and grabbed the staff. He was suddenly excited. Perhaps God would do something wonderful again. When he returned to his dad, the people were still angry and scared. The Egyptians were getting nearer. Everyone was screaming in terror. Moses called out, "Come with me!" And there he is. And there he is. He's standing in front of the water. I wonder what is going to happen. All the people were there, and he's standing right up at the top. The whole crowd followed him to the water's edge. Gershom was carrying the staff. Moses walked into the water, taking his staff from Gershom, and held his arm above the water. He prayed to God. Suddenly, a wind blew up. It was strong and cold, and it started to move the water. Everyone watched in amazement. The sea was being pushed apart. Water that had been up to Moses' knees was now down by his ankles. Gershom was so excited that he jumped up and down on the bench. "Hooray!" he shouted. Moses turned round to the people. "Go back to your tents and sleep," he told them. "God has heard your crying. In the morning you will walk through the middle of the sea." Gershom went back to his tent, but he couldn't sleep properly. All through the night he could hear the powerful wind pushing the water apart. He could also hear the distant clatter of angry Egyptian soldiers. They had been stopped in their tracks because a thick fog had come down around them. Everyone was waiting for morning. "Gershom! Gershom!" a voice was calling. He woke up. He had been asleep under the stars. The tent had disappeared. "Wake up, Gershom," his dad was saying. "It's time to go." Gershom jumped up. Had it all been a dream? He looked towards the Egyptian army. The fog was still there. He looked at the sea. There was a wide road straight through the middle of it, and a high wall of water on either side. "We're going to the mountains," Moses shouted. The message echoed through the camp. Everyone was excited. Butterflies fluttered in Gershom's stomach. "Can I carry your staff, Dad?" he asked. "Not today," Moses said. "We're going down God's road, straight through the sea." Gershom and his friends charged ahead. The boys and girls ran down to where the water used to be. But now their feet thudded on dry ground. Everyone was laughing. Gershom's dad was their hero again. Some people started singing. "God has rescued us," they sang. "No more slavery. No more beatings." They were free at last. The Egyptians couldn't catch them now. They were following God's cloud and fire. They were going to the mountains. They were going to meet God. Isn't that a wonderful story? You've probably heard it before, but I just love the way it's told there. Now, we haven't got to start a song this week for you. Steve has done a game for you. I wonder what it is. I haven't seen it yet. Enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Bye.
Hello, my name's Steve, and I'm Mandy's husband. Wasn't that a great story that she just told us? Well, we live together in the same house, and so you've probably seen me from the other side of the room in which Mandy was sitting just a moment ago. Well, instead of having a song today, we thought that we might play a game. And I thought it would be good to play a game that we often used to play on Friday nights at Ignite. You might remember it. In my hand here, I've got a pack of different cards with different letters on them. The only problem is, because the camera is looking straight at me, you will see them just like you do in a mirror, back to front. So the letters will be difficult to make out. So I better explain them to you in case you can't quite work them out. Okay, the first letter I've got here is a P. It's a P. But looking back to front, it's a bit more like a 9, that isn't it? But it is actually a P. And what I want you to do is to imagine that you are something or someone beginning with the letter P. I want you to pretend that you are a policeman. What does a policeman do? You could be a policeman conducting the traffic in the middle of the road. You could be a policeman telling somebody to stop right there because you want to arrest them and to put the handcuffs on them. Or maybe you might be a policeman blowing your whistle or talking into your walkie-talkie, your radio, or calling 999. Or you might be a policeman driving a fast police car trying to catch a criminal. Have a quick think and then pretend to be a policeman. And if mum or dad or brothers or sisters are there, ask them how well you did, okay? You've got 5 seconds. Are you ready? 4, 3, 2, 1. And our next letter is a letter T. That looks like nothing on earth, does it? It looks like it's back to front. But actually, I see it front on. It's a T. It's a T. I want you to imagine this time that you are something beginning with the letter T. In fact, this something is an animal. I wonder if you can guess what it is. It's very slow and it has a shell. It carries its house on its back. Yes, it's a tortoise. Get down on the floor and imagine that you're a very slow tortoise. And see how long it can take you to crawl on all fours from one side of the room to the other. Are you ready? Off you go. Come on, hurry up, Mr. Tortoises. We haven't got all week, you know. Well, it's time now for another letter. And this time I've got the letter backwards again. The letter F. 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 And F is for footballer. Both boys and girls play football these days, so I want you to imagine that you're a footballer. Perhaps you're a goalkeeper and you're pulling off a wonderful save. Or maybe you're a striker and you're taking a penalty and you want to send the goalkeeper the wrong way. Or maybe you're a fullback, a defender, and your job is to stop the other side from scoring. Or a big, tall centre-back that heads the ball away and stops the other team from getting anywhere near your goal. Are you ready? Off you go. Be a footballer. See how many goals you can stop or save or score in the next 10 seconds. Hey! Come on, United. Come on, City. Come on, Town. Come on, Blackpool. Fleetwood Town. Fylde AFC. Come on, let's be having you. Preston North End. Are you ready for another one? This time we got K. Curly K. C. And K. Back to front, of course. This time I want you to be what they call a reptile. Reptiles are cold-blooded. They don't have warm bodies like we do. They have to lie out in the sun to get warm, and that's why they bask in the sun for long periods of time. And they are not very active, really, but this particular reptile lives in the water. He does come up on land, but he spends most of his time in the water, and sometimes he just floats on the top, looking a bit like a log. But I wouldn't advise you to get too near him, because he is, yes, you guessed it, a crocodile. Be a crocodile, snapping away and trying to find something to eat out there in the middle of the river. Off you go. That's excellent. Well, that's some of the best crocodiles I've ever seen in my life. Are we ready for another one? Well, this one is the letter D. It looks more like a letter B, doesn't it? And a letter D backwards does look like a B. But this is actually a D. And this time, I want you to go back in time. Not last year, or the year before, or even 10 years ago, but millions of years ago. Because I want you to be one of those huge, great, big, roaring dinosaurs. You're a dinosaur. You're big. You're fierce. You're loud. You're dangerous. Off you go. Be a dinosaur. Hey, there's some big dinosaurs there. Some scaly ones, some tall ones, some fat ones, some long ones with huge long necks. I wonder which one you are. Why, perhaps one of those with those big spiny things on their back, or their big sharp teeth. Fantastic dinosaurs. Well done. Okay, let's do another one. This time we've got the letter M. That's not too bad, is it? M looks pretty well the same, whichever way we do it. M. And M is for this time something very small. I want you to be a mouse. Squeaky mouse scuttling across the floor, trying to get away from the pet cat that wants you for lunch. And there you see a piece of cheese and you sit munching it. Go on, be a mouse. Who can be the best mouse? Away you go, scuttling around the carpet. If Mum sees you like a mouse, she'll be scared and she'll jump up on the table, because most mums are a bit afraid of mice. Strange that, isn't it? Because they're very small things to be afraid of. There they go. There goes the mouse. Oh, brilliant. Okay. And we've got one more. No, we've got two more. This one is the letter E. And it's for a very big animal. Let me see if you can guess what it is. It's grey. It's got a wrinkly, very thick skin. Some have big, long white tusks, but they all have a very, very, very long nose. It's called a trunk. Yes, you got it. It's an elephant. See if you can make an elephant sound. See if you can do it. And crash around like an elephant, stomping around. Okay, off you go. Who can be the best elephant, I wonder? There's some good elephants there. I can just see them. I'm sure I can hear some of you all the way over here in my flat. Well done. And here's the last one, and it's a S. It's an S, a letter S. And this time I want you to be a person. He wears a uniform. Sometimes the uniform is red. It can be blue. More often, it can be a sort of browny colour, khaki, and usually carries a gun. Some of them have big, furry hats. And when the man shouts, he goes, "Attention!" They all stand up because they are soldiers. I want you, this is the last one in our game today. Can you be a soldier? March up and down. That's it. Stand at attention. And then when told to stand at ease, you put your legs apart and you stand there with your hand behind your back. Absolutely excellent. Well done. They're great soldiers, they are. And then you can get out your gun and you can stand guard on the sentry box. Make sure, who goes there? That nobody gets into the camp unless they've got the password. Very good. Excellent. Well, that's all we've got time for today. But maybe next week or another week soon, we'll be able to play another game. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your week, kids. Bye for now.